It is you. I know why you have come. Ambition and evil has brought you here. Those who follow you are blind to your true nature and purpose. I see into your mortal heart, and everything that guides your actions. Those that travel with you are tools, nothing more.
Know that the time of your lies is over, King of Shadows. Casting lies upon the Kalak-Cha will not save you from the judgment that comes.
As we have traveled, I have seen your nature, and perhaps in following you, I have committed evil as well. But the King of Shadows must be stopped.
It does not matter. Not now, perhaps not ever. All that matters is destroying the King of Shadows.
And so, our leader becomes a reflection of you, Amanjaro. And it is little surprise to me that you welcome it.
Know that this path has brought us to our destination. All that matters is that the Kalak-Cha is with us now, as was intended.
And yet, they all believe you can save them. That you should save them. Frightened mortals clamor for one to lead them. To protect them from all they fear. But when the threat is gone, they shall come to fear you and tear you down. Then it is in your best interest to cast off these tools and join me as an ally. You need not die. You need not be cleansed. Only the weak require servants. From you, I merely require your willingness to sever your ties and protect something greater than yourself. A lesson Darius never learned. As a demonstration of your commitment to our alliance, we ask you to eliminate those who followed you here.
Do not do this. Do not even consider it.
If you do this, you will end up like Darius, despite what the King of Shadows says. I put too much faith in you, and now I will see you dead.
My tears become dust before they escape my eyes. Yet know that in death we still serve.
My blade is yours. Let the people, the life of Neverwinter, fall before Shadow.
It will be a slaughter, but our battle shall have purpose. We shall serve an empire and bring ruin to its enemies.
Let power finally be unleashed, without restraint, without bounds, and let it consume all that stand against us.
And let knowledge serve us as weapons in our battle as well.
And nature itself shall be that on which you feast. No life, no creature shall hide from you while I serve.
And for an empire that has betrayed us, let us forsake it for one that is true. Our allegiance is yours, King of Shadows.
Now let us continue with the cleansing. Neverwinter will fall before the moon waxes.
Before the Knight Captain had traveled to the Vale of Myrtleane, it seemed the King of Shadows' progress had been slowed, perhaps even stopped. It was a vain hope, for barely a day after his journey into the Vale, the forces of the King of Shadows suddenly rolled across the land like a tide. There was no sign of Garius, no sign of the Reavers at the front of the Dark Armies, just a shadowy general that led the dead through town, city, and finally to Crossroad Keep itself. Without the Knight Captain to bolster the Keep's forces, Crossroad Keep quickly fell, and the soldiers were driven to Waterdeep and the surrounding lands. But there, at the unmarked ancient borders of the Ilfarn Empire, the Shadows stopped their advance and remained still. To this day, the line of shadow is one none will dare cross, and the people of Neverwinter live with the knowledge that there are stretches of the Sword Coast where dawn's light will never fall again. No one truly knows what came of the Knight Captain and the other heroes when they traveled to the King of Shadows' fortress, but all agree that the shadowy general that emerged must have slain the Knight Captain. For the general wore the Knight Captain's cloak, and bore a silver sword that had once belonged to the Lord of Crossroad Keep. In the year following the war against the King of Shadows, Neverwinter quickly recovered, its city watch, gray cloaks, and even the many-starred cloaks gaining numerous new recruits. Emboldened by the actions of the Shardbearer, the ranks of the soldiers of Neverwinter swelled, becoming one of the strongest military units in the Sword Coast. This ended up being a boon for the City Watch Captain Borlena, who used her ties to the Shardbearer and Lord of Crossroad Keep to petition for a seat on the Council of Neverwinter. From there, she passed many successful political resolutions that improved diplomatic ties with Waterdeep and the Lord's Alliance. Bevel, led by the example of the Shardbearer, became a commander of the Greycloaks in time, finally finding the ability to lead in command. In the aftermath of the Second War of Shadow, he sought tirelessly for his fallen commander, convinced that the Lord of Crossroad Keep had survived. Shortly after the war, Dagon attempted to return to West Harbor, believing that the Shadow General that led the King of Shadows' armies could be found there. His path was the correct one, but not as he intended. He was intercepted by beasts along the road south of Highcliff and brought in pieces to the Shadow General, who watched Dagon be consumed by his minions, then raised him from the dead to die again and again for his amusement. It is said that Dagon's corpse is embedded in a pillar of the dead in the Vale of Myrtleane, his mouth left hanging open so the wind might whistle through it in a mockery of the song portals of Ilfarn. Following the rise of the King of Shadows and his general, the Mere of Dead Men became an increasingly desolate place. The ruins of West Harbor, in particular, became a dark gathering ground for the shadows and dead of the Mere, and the tiny farming village became a twisted shadow of the once proud dwelling of harbormen. The farm of Chandra Jarrow was left abandoned for some time, yet it never fell into disrepair. During the harvest season, the people of Highcliff came to pay their respects to Chandra Jarrow, who was rumored to have fallen in battle against the King of Shadows. The Lord of Crossroad Keep returned when the King of Shadows came to reclaim the ancient citadel. The Servant of Shadow slayed all the inhabitants he had gathered, and he used their bodies to form a new wall around his home. It is said that this beast resides there still with the Shadows, where the heads of his former companions form a silent gallery around him, frozen in dark screams. Of the Gith-Yankee and their Lich Queen, no more was heard. Driven from the Sword Coast by the Shardbearer, it seemed as if the hunters had retreated to their citadels on the astral plane. Even the wisest sages of Faerun know that whoever holds such a blade shall have a long journey ahead of them, both in the realms and beyond. But that is a tale for another time.